As the UK gears up for the US president's visit, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has addressed representatives of the civil nuclear industry during a reception at Lancaster House. It comes as his government announces that it will sign an agreement with the US during Trump's upcoming state visit to speed up development of new nuclear projects. Let's listen in to what Starmer had to say.
UK. This is groundbreaking. It is paving the way for the future that we want, which is renewable energy. New nuclear is part of that mix. Jobs, lower energy costs, independence, and everything that goes with it is tied up with this deal. So I'm really pleased. So our job today is to reflect on how we've got this deal with the US. It is a really good deal. It's something I discussed with President Trump when I met him the time before last, and we said we wanted to see whether we could realise our joint ambition in relation to nuclear, new nuclear. I'm really pleased that today that's come to fruition.
Windsor Castle staff are now setting up the 50-metre-long mahogany table. Grooms are buffing the hoofs off the horses that will put the royal carriages, and the military honour guard is drilling to ensure every step lands with precision. Throughout the halls and grounds of the almost 1,000-year-old castle west of London, hundreds of people are working to make sure King Charles III puts on the best show possible when he welcomes US President Donald Trump for his historic second state visit this week. An analyst has reacted on Trump's upcoming visit. Let's listen in.
Well, it was a big offer for the UK to make. It's unusual to offer a second state visit to a head of state. But the UK is keen to ensure that it can get something strategic and meaningful out of this visit. There'll be an awful lot of choreography. The UK will likely play on the things that the government knows Trump enjoys and likes about the UK, FaceTime with the royal family, emphasis on the historical links between the two countries. But what we should be looking out for is whether the UK secures some of the announcements, some of the deals, particularly on technology, and something was trailed this morning on energy as well, out of this visit. The UK government has a difficult challenge because the US, for a long time, has been its principal security partner, but its politics are becoming more volatile. So just like other European leaders, Starmer has to figure out how to personally deal with Trump and his approach to allies and non-allies alike, which can be volatile and changeable. The UK has to figure out how to deal with America's changing approach to trade policy, particularly Trump's keenness on imposing tariffs on other states in order to extract concessions on his America First priorities.
We are now joined by Keith Vaz, who is a former UK minister, and he joins us live from London. Keith, it's always a pleasure to talk to you on these issues. The UK Prime Minister has received both praise and also criticism of how he has dealt with the US president in the past. A historic second state visit, which Keir Starmer delivered Donald Trump in the Oval Office in front of the world press. What do both sides want from Donald Trump's visit to Britain, and what can we expect from it?
Good morning, Thomas from London. I think that probably Donald Trump gets more out of this visit than Keir Starmer, simply because it's a distraction for him. He's facing a lot of problems in the United States. He's facing, after all, let's see what's happened in the Middle East. There is a war going on in the Middle East. There is a war going on between Ukraine and Russia. There is a war going on politically in the United States. There's been an assassination of one of his closest ideological friends. So this is basically a distraction for Donald Trump, away from all this, where he is going to be treated like not just a visiting head of state, but like a very, very special friend indeed. But hanging all over this, of course, is also the Epstein issue. And he will want to get away from that as quickly as he can, because, of course, it's already cost the job of the British ambassador to the United States. So I think that Trump gets more out of it than the United Kingdom. And at this moment of time, I think probably Keir Starmer also needs a bit of a distraction. What's interesting about this state visit is the fact that it is all being cordoned off in Windsor. So central London is going to be free from demonstrations and any disorder. Parliament is not in session. Very conveniently, Parliament has gone into recess early. I remember from my time in Parliament, we used to have 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks of September used to be when Parliament sat. They've broken it up slightly, because that's what the government can do. They've broken it up slightly earlier, so the MPs aren't in session, otherwise they'd be asking very serious questions about what's going on. So it's a bit of a sideshow, it's a bit of glamour, it's a bit of glitz. I think for the royal family, Harry made a very successful visit last week, so this is a way of showing Harry we can get to the President of the United States something that you can't get to it. So everyone is a winner in this state visit. There's no question of that. Whether there's anything of substance that comes out of this is a completely different matter. I'm not sure that there is.
Yes, and Keith, we just heard from an analyst that said that Donald Trump is seen as being fond of the United Kingdom. The UK, of course, was the first trade deal to come out post-tariff announcement. What more could you tell us about Donald Trump's likening to Britain?
Well, I think it's part of his MAGA base, in a sense. He would have been very pleased at the demonstration last week in support of Tommy Robinson, because I imagine he's quite a big fan of Tommy Robinson. We all speak English. We don't speak Chinese, so he doesn't need an interpreter. At least I hope he doesn't. We just about know the American, and he just about knows the way we speak English. So it's like going to Boston for him, only he probably wouldn't be allowed in Boston, though he is obviously being allowed in the UK. So he likes it for that reason, no translators required. Secondly, pomp and ceremony is important, though, to be frank, the Saudis did something pretty spectacular when he went there. He likes people, like all emperors. They like people to suck up to them, and Keir Starmer will be doing a lot of sucking up. He realizes that's the best way of getting stuff out of the Americans. And of course, his mother is from Scotland, not quite England, where he will be, but he's already been to Scotland and he's opened his new golf course. So he's probably going to look at Windsor Castle and see whether or not he can put in an offer to turn that into a golf course. Who knows? Who knows with Donald Trump? He is the most exciting political figure on the planet. So he could say anything and it will grab the headlines. But there's a lot going on in the world at this minute. And so I think he probably feels quite safe in the middle of Windsor Castle, taking tea and having breakfast with King Charles III.
Yes, Keith Vaz, thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Well, that is all that we have time for this hour, but we will continue